Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. Every week we showcase animals that are looking for forever homes at the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. I'm Linda Shea. With me is Randy Cooper, and on Randy's lap is one of our adoptable animals. This is Mia. Mia came to us as a stray from the Emmitsburg area, had been found as a stray with another puppy, and sometimes that does happen, believe it or not. People either abandon puppies or leave them on the side of the road free to good home. So Mia was brought here. She is about 12 to 14 weeks old. She's an Australian cattle dog mix. I know on the way in we're thinking that she was a lab mix, but she's got a lot of the behaviors that are more of a cattle dog, a working breed type of dog. Right now she's 22 pounds, but at 14 weeks she's going to get bigger. I would estimate she'll be about 40 pounds, not terribly big when she gets fully grown. She's a little girl, so prior to leaving here, we will have her spayed. We will go ahead and microchip her. In the event she gets away from her adoptive family, we can easily return her if she ends up back at the shelter or at a vet's office. We've already administered all the preventatives that she needs as far as vaccines, dewormers, and for puppies that are under 4 months, we go ahead and start them on heartworm prevention as well. We color code all of our dogs, and this little girl is color coded green. So for a puppy, that's typical. She needs some manners training, she needs some socialization. Puppies require a lot of work, and we are happy to answer any questions or provide you any information you might need to make an informed decision about whether a puppy would fit into your life. But this is Mia, and she is looking for a home.
Flower pot.
This little girl is Ariana. We named her that. She came to us as a stray from Penwick Circle in Frederick, and she is a pit bull mix, about 2 to 3 years old. She came to us back March 23rd. And a lot of times when animals come to us, especially when they're stray, we don't have any idea of what their medical history is, what their vaccines are, what their issues may be. So it's a blank slate as far as we're concerned. But we behavior assessed Ariana. She behavior assessed under the orange category, meaning that she has some manners on board, so we know she belonged to somebody at some point. Just needs a little bit of work. If you're wondering about the cone that she's wearing, the Elizabethan collar, she came to us, as a lot of animals do, in need of medical attention. She had something called cherry eye, where her third eyelid on her one of her eyes was prolapsed. So we had that taken care of. We do have an animal medical fund that helps us provide assistance to animals that are adoptable. So what they've done with her right eye is kind of tack where the prolapse was. She also had an umbilical hernia, so when we went ahead and got her spayed, we took care of that as well. So she is 2 days out from surgery, and she has done an amazing job at recovering. She's going to be wearing the e-collar for a while until her eye is healed a little bit better. We want to make sure that she doesn't rupture anything or scratch it open. She's about 50 pounds. She's tested negative for heartworm, Lyme, Ehrlichia, and Anaplasma. And again, she's already spayed. We've gone ahead and done that, microchipped, had the cherry eye taken care of. Her adoption fee, because she's 2 to 3 years old, would be $92.50. That's the same as it is for any of our dogs here, adult dogs. So even though we've done the surgery and the hernia repair, there's no extra charge for that. So something to keep in mind. We're not always able to do things like this. We are 100% county tax funded. We have a limited budget, but we also have generous community citizens that donate, and if the donation is made to the medical fund, that's where that money comes for things like this. But this is Ariana, very sweet. She's been at the shelter about 2 or 3 weeks now, so would definitely do better in a home, which is what we're looking for. So again, Ariana looking for a forever home. This little girl is about 13.5 pounds. This is Foxy. She's about 6 years old. She just arrived at the shelter. She's a miniature pinscher mix, and her color is considered sable. She's got that blended black into the brown, and a little bit of, can't tell if it's gray or white on her muzzle. Very sweet girl, a little bit shy. You can maybe see some of the shaking, so I can't tell if she's just camera shy or just shy overall. But she is absolutely adorable, and she was turned in. Her owners had her for her whole entire life, and a lot of times I think animals are just shell-shocked when they get here. She's been in a home by herself with her family where it's relatively quiet, and now she's in a kennel situation with other barking dogs and cats and visitors. So I think that kind of contributes to some of the personalities that we see. She was turned in, according to her owners, she barks too much, and they were unable to consistently find her house trained. So I'm not sure. She was left alone 8 hours a day. Says that she was not crate trained, not house trained, but nor was she spayed. So that might be contributing to some of that. Prior to leaving here, of course, she'll be spayed. And she didn't have any vet care that we're aware of, or that her previous owners were aware of prior to coming here. So we've brought her up to speed on vaccines, on preventatives. We run fecals on all of our dogs, so if they have any intestinal parasites that show up in that, we treat them for that as well. She's got some tartar on her teeth, which is very mild, and that's typical given her age range and her breed mix. A lot of times with dogs, if they're not house trained, sometimes crate training can help with that. We have an adoption interview process where we can go over that information with you, and especially prior to adoption, if you have any concerns about how to house train a dog properly, we're more than happy to answer questions and lead you to information and websites that can help with that. But right now, this is Foxy, about 6 years old. I'd encourage you, if you're looking for a small dog, if you want to offer her a commitment for the rest of her life, just come in and visit during the hours when we're open. This little guy is Han. He is a Lhasa Apso mix. When he came to the shelter a few days ago, he was a mess. A lot of times folks that have these types of dogs don't realize there's a commitment as far as grooming. Lhasas are one of those breeds, if you don't know your way around a brush and clippers, you do need to solicit a professional groomer or somebody who does. And it's not necessarily to make them pretty and handsome. He is very handsome. Grooming becomes a requirement to keep that dog comfortable. When dogs with long hair are not groomed properly, they get matted, their arms get attached to their abdomen through their armpits, just that hair gets knotted, matted, really, really uncomfortable and can affect their mobility. So Han came to us a matted mess as a stray, and we went ahead and got him comfortable. So you can see now he is gorgeous, but he's got a length to that hair that will grow back. So if you're interested in adopting a breed like this, you really need to consider that grooming aspect. Han is about 1.5 to 2 years old, came in as a stray from the Key Parkway area in Frederick. And yes, we do get stray animals that are purebred or purebred mixes. So if you are ever missing a pet, you want to, first of all, call us, and then secondly, as soon as our doors open to the public, you want to come in and look around. Your description of your animal may be different, and in the case of Han, when he was with his owner a week or so ago, he looked much different. Now he's all shaved down, so almost unrecognizable. So really important to come into the shelter, walk around, be escorted back to the isolation areas to make sure if you're missing a pet that it's not here, and then you'll file a lost report with us with a description, preferably a photo, to help us match if it comes into the shelter. Again, Han was a stray from the Key Parkway area. He's color-coded green. He is available for adoption. We do behavior assess all of our dogs just to kind of get an idea. It's just a snapshot in time of what we see in their interaction with other dogs, with people, with food, and with toys. So again, this is Han, a Lhasa mix, available for adoption. This sweet old guy is Toretto. Toretto has somewhat of a sad story. He's about 13 years old. He's got great manners. He's very friendly. Probably the one issue he has, he does not like his paws touched. So I don't know if he had a bad pedicure earlier in life, but that's the one kind of deal breaker for him. So we do have him designated older children and adult home only, specifically for that reason. Other than that, he is just a pleasure. He's playful, he's friendly, he's social. He did pass our behavior assessment other than the handling of his feet. But he was brought in to us originally by an owner, and when we have an intake process, and the intake process means that you are bringing your animal to us. We will ask you if you've tried other options rather than to bring them here and leave them here, and then we need some information because since this is your pet when you're starting off, we want to know what they eat, where they sleep, what they're used to, have they lived with kids or cats, are they house trained, and Toretto's owner decided to leave with Toretto. and not provide us that information. I believe from what I was told he became impatient with the process. And he ended up dropping Toretto off down the street. So we ended up, a citizen found him and brought him to us. So if this dog looks familiar and you know the owner, we would certainly like more information than what we have about him. But he came in on April 7th. We do designate him as a stray because we were unable to acquire owner information. Toretto is about 61.5 pounds. Because we didn't have any information, we went ahead and brought him up to speed on vaccines and preventatives. And he is 13. He deserves a forever home. He deserves to be with the family on a couch watching TV, eating potato chips or whatever snack is appropriate. I find older animals the best. Their personalities are already in place. They're typically well-mannered. What you see is what you get. There's no surprises, and he is just joyful. So if you're looking for a senior dog, this is Toretto. He is looking for a home, preferably a home, older children, adults only, that have time to give a senior. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some of our smaller critters that are available for adoption.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Credit and debit cards are now accepted at the Frederick County Community Development Division. Customers can now pay for permits, inspections, and development review fees with their credit or debit card, either online, over the phone, or in person at the office. Please note that a service fee will be charged by the card processor for these transactions. We hope that this new convenience will further strengthen the Frederick Board of County Commissioners' business-friendly strategic goals as part of our Open for Business campaign. For more information, visit frederickcountymd.gov/community development or call 301-600-2313.
The most important piece of equipment in your home is your smoke alarm, and it is probably the easiest and cheapest to maintain. Keep your family safe this year with regular smoke alarm checkups. Regularly check the batteries and perform periodic testing. For more information about smoke alarm safety and maintenance, visit the Frederick County Division of Fire and Rescue Services website at frederickcountymd.gov/smoke alarms.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. Now we're going to take a look at some of our smaller animals that are in need of forever homes. First little kitty we're going to take a look at is Cricket. Cricket is about 2 to 3 years old, and she came to the shelter the end of February. We had a number of Himalayans at that point that were brought to us from one home. That person could not care for the number of Himis that she had, so they did the right thing by bringing them here. Cricket was placed in foster care, and she's got some notes in her vet chart that are important to know if you're considering adopting a cat like this. She might possibly have something of a chronic upper respiratory infection nature. So it would be important to realize that she, even though she's not symptomatic, she might be shedding that virus. So it's a good talking point. If you're considering adopting an animal and you don't already have a veterinarian that you go to, you do need to have a veterinarian that you would go to for things like that, for just asking questions, for routine exams. A cat like this is beautiful. She requires brushing, but she may also be a risk if you have other cats in the home. And it's one of those things, even though we can do a lot of diagnostics and figure out what she may have, it's not always cut and dry what the cats that are in your home already might acquire from a newcomer. So definitely a talking point with your vet. Definitely you want to know the status of your existing pets. If they're older or compromised, you may not want to introduce a cat that could potentially share with them an upper respiratory infection. Cricket is only about 6.5 pounds. Most of these little himmies were little. Very friendly, very sweet, and you can tell she does a great job at being a lap cat. So if you're interested in an exotic, you do want to make sure you check the shelter periodically. We do get exotics in, and Cricket is one of the few that are on our adoption floor at the moment. This little girl is one of the few kittens that is on our floor, but they will be coming. It is now kitten season. We've got kittens in foster care, and if you give us about a month and come visit the shelter, you will have quite a selection. Right now, Peony is here. She came to us in early March. She's about 5 months old. Her birth date was October 30th, 2014, and she is the product of an unexpected litter. So people had adult cats in their home that were not spayed, not neutered, and this is the result. So if you do have existing cats, especially that are in need of spaying and neutering, contact the shelter. We do not perform spay-neuter for outside animals here. We spay and neuter animals that are shelter animals before they leave. But if you need information, if you need financial help, if you want some resources, and if you want to help us curb that overpopulation of unwanted animals, you want to get your pet spayed and neutered, call us and we'll give you whatever information you need. Peony, again, is about 5 months old, came to us without any vet history, no vaccines on board, so we went ahead and did that for her. And not uncommon, she did develop an upper respiratory infection within her stay here, so she has resolved that. She's available for adoption on the floor, but that is another issue when you are creating animals that are unwanted and you bring them here without vet care, without vaccines on board, sort of like tossing a child into a shopping center. If the child doesn't have any vaccines on board, they are at risk and exposed to all sorts of germs and very likely to catch something. So, but Peony is available now. She's very sweet. She is, as all of our cats are, she's tested negative for feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus, and she is in need of a forever home. This handsome girl is Clover. She's about 10 to 12 months old. She's a domestic medium hair, and you can tell she is also color-coded orange. While she's not designated as a lap cat, she's perfectly comfortable sitting with Randy. She came to us previously owned, and the reason that she was turned in is the owner said that she was too much to handle, too much at this time. So again, the person that had her had acquired her from a friend in September, and now it was March when she was turned into the shelter. So you just really have to think about, we can't encourage enough, the long-term responsibility of being a pet owner. Cats can live an average of 15 years. So when you see the cute little kittens that come in and you're anxious to adopt or acquire them from a friend or gain them in some other manner, you really have to just stop and think. Last year we took in over 3,000 cats and kittens. Half of them were owned, so about 1,500 were previously owned, turned in because folks that thought they wanted them for whatever reason changed their mind. So certainly not fair to the animal, so really think about it. We're here to answer questions when people come in, they think they might want to adopt. Remember that a cat will need to go to the vet at least once a year. If there's an issue, it might be more. You need to provide a litter box. You need to change that litter box on a regular basis, or the cat may choose to not use it. You want to make sure that if they've got medium or long hair, such as Clover, you want to brush their hair. Cats are great at maintaining their own coat, but they might need you to help them out, especially if they get knots or mats. So that's just a little bit of the responsibility of being a cat owner. So again, this is Clover. She is gorgeous, she is young, and she is in need of a forever home. This is another one of our senior cats. This is Tabitha. She's about 12 years old. She came to us previously owned. She's only about 9 pounds, so she's just a little over half of what our previous cat was. We do snap test all of our cats for leukemia and FIV, and they all test negative, the ones that we have available on the adoption floor. Tabitha is color-coded orange, meaning that she's not necessarily a lap cat, although she's doing really well right now. But she is very tolerant of being handled and being pet. And the reason that she was turned in, her family, sounds like they had quite a number of children. They've had her for 10 years, and she was turned in. They were trying to, and this is quoted, reducing our expenses. So a lot of times people don't realize when you introduce a pet into your family, as pets get older, they may not cost more than they once did, but there are sometimes extra diagnostics. The money that you put into them is going into different places. They might need supplements to keep their joints comfortable. So those types of situations do come up with older pets, so it is something to consider. However, you know, depending on the family, if you only have one older pet, a lot of times that's doable. If you have a number of pets, then you just have to renegotiate the budget a little bit. She did live with a dog. As far as we know, they still have their dog. Says that she's afraid of the vacuum, which is, you know, the case with a lot of cats. The sound, the noise, the traveling of the machine can sometimes throw them off a little bit. But as you can tell, Tabitha is very sweet, 12 years old, very deserving of a forever home. The last little animal we're going to take a look at is the smallest animal we have at the moment. This is Pretty Girl, and yes, she's a rat. We often get asked, do you really place rats up for adoption? We do. She is considered the breed is considered a fancy rat. Yes, rats come in breeds, and I totally understand. I have, you know, a child that lives in a suburban area that rats are considered vermin and nuisance, and but this little girl is not. So this little girl is available for adoption. She was purchased from a pet store. So again, we are an open admission shelter. We take animals from within Frederick County, regardless of where they started. If they need us, we are here. And the reason she was turned in, the owner that purchased her was expecting a child and did not want to deal with the rat and the newborn. Rats are actually very clean, they're very social, they're smart, they can learn to respond to their name. They do require an owner that's a little bit smarter than they are. They can escape from housing units, which is not a good thing. They can chew through wires and chew through flooring, so you want to make sure that they're kept safe. They do tend to groom themselves, and they need a variety in diet, and I believe from reading here that the previous owner offered her green peppers, lettuce, carrots, and bananas, which is all appropriate for rats. We work very closely with one of our rescues, which is Small Angels Rescue, and they have a great website, which I refer to all the time as a resource, so they have information. So whenever you adopt one of our smaller animals, our gerbils, hamsters, guinea pigs, and rats, we often print out the information from their website because it is comprehensive and extensive and just very, very helpful. So if you've never had a rodent before, you want to make sure you ask yourself, you know, are you prepared to take this on to keep her safe? And certainly we are available and happy to answer questions. So this again is Pretty Girl. She's about a year or so old, so she's on the younger side of rat and looking for a forever home. And that wraps it up for this week's Pet Pals. We hope you enjoyed looking at these animals. If any of the animals sparked your interest, or if you know somebody looking for an adopted animal, you want to make sure you send them to our shelter. Have a great week, and we will see you next time on Pet Pals.